today. This is an interesting video because about there's a I forgot the country, Venezuela. We took the president, and this is an interesting video because wonder weapon, this thing makes some sound and then they start throwing up. It's very interesting. Like we didn't know this stuff, so this is like new technology. This is kind of crazy.
U.S. military deployed
Alright, so let's watch it and let's begin.
a secret sonic weapon during the raid in Venezuela. According to witnesses on the ground, the operation began with an unexplained radar blackout.
And this is kind of crazy. Like they completely black out the whole city just fast and quick. I know America is America, yeah, of course. Yes, but like very quickly, very fast with small groups. I know it was Delta Forces. I understand they're the best of the best. They supposed to do this job easily. I know, but what I'm saying is this was an amazing job. Absolutely amazing job. This is going to be in the history books, okay, of the best.
Followed massive drone swarm and the sounds of helicopters.
I don't think this ever happened in United States history.
Despite being outnumbered 5-1, the small U.S. Special Forces team faced less resistance. Why? Reports indicate soldiers suffered from vertigo, vomiting,
Yeah,
and
these water weapons.
internal bleeding. Military analysts
We don't know even is this technology, but we do know something fucked them up. Like there's a guy talking about as a soldier who was there saying that don't ever fight with the Americans or ever, like he was explaining that we was surprised, it was quick, it was fast, we didn't even expect it. It was fast and quick. I wish I have the text message of the guys explaining it, but like he said like don't fuck the USA.
believe this was a soft kill operation, likely utilizing a high-power microwave device. More detail all in the video ahead.
Wow.
Based on witness testimony, here's how the event likely occurred. Venezuelan soldiers were on standard guard duty when their radar systems suddenly shut down without warning.
Yeah.
Immediately after the blackout, a massive drone swarm appeared over the facility, followed by 8 helicopters equipped with unidentified technology. A 20-man team of Delta and Special Forces operatives deployed from the helicopters. The encounter took a mysterious turn when the defending force of 100 soldiers reportedly froze, leaving them unable to compete with a smaller elite team. Witnesses noted that the Delta Force operatives fired with impossible precision, estimating a rate of fire near
AK-47? Why not M1 or AR-15s? Why these?
300 rounds per minute per soldier. It is theorized that Black Hawk helicopters were used to deploy this capability, utilizing disc-shaped radar attachments to launch a directed beam at the opposing troops. They reported internal trauma. They suffered immediate vestibular incapacity.
Yeah. The guy explaining like he was throwing up. This is interesting technology. We've never seen this before. This is quite insane.
Meaning a total loss of balance and paralysis. Some even reported bleeding from the nose and vomiting blood, symptoms consistent with internal hemorrhaging. While the Pentagon hasn't officially disclosed the specific hardware, military experts often call this a soft kill system. So how does it actually work? To understand the weapon, you first have to look at what it did. The most likely candidate for a weapon that creates that kind of internal pressure without external sound is a high-power microwave device.
But we don't know this is the technology. We're just assuming this is the technology, so we don't know.
It relies on something called the Frey effect. The weapon, probably carried by a Chinook or a Black Hawk helicopter, fires a focused beam of pulsed microwave energy, not sound waves, that passes right through the skull. These beams are absorbed by the water in the brain tissue and the fluid in the inner ear. This energy causes a minuscule rapid heating of the tissue, less than 1 degree.
I think we saw this technology in the protest. I forgot in the Balkans. If you know, a huge protest happened in the Balkans, and then dead slide is a huge protest in the street. Quiet. For some reason it was very quiet. Then boo, and everybody started running. I wish I have the video, but it was interesting.
Celsius. But that tiny sudden expansion generates a pressure wave inside the skull. The consequence? The target hears a sound, clicks, buzzing, or a roar that originates inside their own head, bypassing the eardrums entirely. If the frequency is tuned to the resonance of the inner ear, it violently disrupts the body's balance, causing immediate vertigo. At higher power levels, that rapid tissue expansion can rupture capillaries, leading to the reported nosebleeds and internal trauma. There is another possibility, a weaponized infrasonic pulse emitter. Instead of a continuous beam, this device would fire high-intensity slugs of low-frequency air pressure below 20 Hz. These waves travel through the body to match the resonant frequency of internal organs like the stomach or lungs. High-intensity infrasound can actually cause cavitation, the formation of bubbles in bodily fluids. When those bubbles collapse, they create tiny shock waves that damage tissue. The target feels an intense vibration in their gut, leading to severe nausea and effectively paralyzing them with pain and sickness. Tactically, the reports suggest U.S. forces use this technology as the ultimate force multiplier. The result was that the hundreds of Venezuelan guards mentioned in the reports weren't fought in a traditional gun battle. They were incapacitated, sick, dizzy, and bleeding, long before U.S. troops made contact. This allowed a small team of approximately 20 operators to walk virtually unopposed through a much larger force. But that's not it. The U.S. military has another secret weapon. Analysts called it the Iron Dome of the Caribbean. They said the airspace over Venezuela was impenetrable, locked down by the Russian-made S-300 anti-system, a beast capable of swatting aircraft out of the sky from 150 miles away. But in the dark night, the myth of invincibility didn't just crack, it evaporated. The opening salvo...
That was interesting because those Russian things are very useful, but the problem is their land is mountains, not flat. In Russia, they have flat land. In the Germany and Ukraine, they have a lot of flat land there, so it's perfect for that. But in Venezuela, it's full of mountains, so they can easily hide under the, I forgot the word, mountain terrain.
It didn't come from pilots, but from physics. The U.S. Gerald R. Ford, stationed off the coast,
I copied that from a YouTuber explaining it.
Unleashed a barrage of electronic warfare so dense it didn't just jam the Venezuelan radar screens, it burned them white. The S-300 operators at Captain Manuel Rios Air Base were blind before they ever saw the missiles coming. The first kinetic strikes were surgical from a destroyer. 2 Tomahawk cruise missiles slammed into the S-300VM radar arrays. In an instant, the eyes of the Venezuelan defense network were turned into twisted, red-hot scrap metal. Precision-guided bombs walked down the flight line. One by one, the Su-30s and the aging X-16s parked beside them were engulfed in fireballs. 7 jets were erased before their pilots could even reach the ladders. It wasn't a dogfight, it was an execution. But the final blow was psychological. At 4:20, the roar of jet engines shook the windows of downtown Caracas. The target was Fortuna, the headquarters of the Ministry of Defense and the nerve center of the regime's military command. The strikes didn't level the city, they decapitated the leadership's ability to communicate. As smoke billowed from the ministry buildings, the message was clear to every commander on the ground: you are alone. You are alone and that no help is coming. But all of this is just a deception. The main target is none other than the president. We finally have the declassified timeline of how U.S. forces breached the heart of Caracas and extracted Nicolas Maduro. Let's start with step 1. The setup. This didn't happen overnight. For months, the U.S. had been tightening a naval quarantine around Venezuela.
I remember something about betting, where somebody bet that Donald Trump was going to take the president. And that guy made like $50 million. I forgot how many he made, but he made a lot of money. Around $1 million mark.
The U.S. Gerald R. Ford Carrier Strike Group and the U.S. Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group were parked off the coast. The pretext was clear. The U.S. designated the Venezuelan government a narco-terrorist state, specifically targeting the drugs lords, but while the Navy squeezed the coast, intelligence assets were tracking one man. They waited for a specific window, a moment where Maduro was stationary and vulnerable. Step 2. The strike. It began at exactly 2 in the morning Venezuelan Standard Time. High above, several F-35 stealth fighters punch a hole through the enemy lines, destabilizing their anti-air defenses. Like these Russian S-300 missiles located all over the strategic high-value target. With the skies clear, the path opens for Delta Force helicopters to fly straight towards the mission. Here comes the deception as the helicopters flew. The jets started firing with more strikes as it hit Fort Tuna, the main military base and command center, and La Carlota Air Base, destabilizing Venezuelan air support. Reports from the ground describe widespread explosions and a sudden communications
Hope they show the video, but
blackout. The chaos wasn't the goal, it was the cover. But how did the raid happen? We have to look at step 3. Under the cover of darkness and chaos, the Tier
this is like a Call of Duty mission, like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 or Call of Duty Ghost.
1 operators went to work. But what is the exact unit tasked with the mission? It is the Delta Force, one of
Yeah, Delta Force, of
the
course.
most elite secretive special forces
They're literally the best of the best of the best. Like, they're top of the food chain. Top. Like, you might actually talk to the president face to face. If you're in Delta Force, you actually might talk to the president and they will tell you what to do. Level of best of the best.
units in the U.S. military. Witnesses in Caracas reported low-flying aircraft skimming the rooftops, flying well below radar coverage. The team breached a secure compound believed to be a safe house within the massive Fort Tuna complex. Resistance from the Venezuelan Presidential Guard was swift but ultimately futile, as the helicopters lay cover fire. The operators moved with surgical speed, landing on multiple points. But how exactly the capture and extraction happened? For this, let's look at step 4. Specialized helicopters hovered over the objective to insert the assault team. While dozens of attack helicopters laid down suppression fire, the Delta Special Forces descended and started the search for the high-value targets. How did they find him? Simple. The CIA had planted spy inside Nicolas Maduro close circle. While back in the
Yeah, you know, he's a dictator, so he had to bribe him. Means corruption gonna be super high in their country. That's why, like, China and Russia, we know everything about Russia and China a lot. The reason why it's so much corruption in those countries, the point where you can get secrets easily from those countries. In the United States, yes, there's a lot of corruption, but not the point where documented secret information will be leaked out a lot of times.
U.S., Delta Force built an exact replica of his safe house, rehearsing the raid until they could do it blindfolded. While operators breached the room so fast, his security could not even react to the situation as the sound of flash grenades disoriented the security guard. Using blowtorch, they caught him before he could.
They're not gonna look like this, like armor plates, armor. No, they're gonna have light armor. Most of the guys in Delta Force will have light armor because they gotta be quick, they gotta be fast.
Even lock all the doors. Maduro's shock and awe froze him as Delta Force breached the compound. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were physically secured. This wasn't a negotiation. They were detained and immediately moved to the extraction point. These aircraft are capable of performing urban extractions from buildings and refueling in midair. We make original 4K 3D animation with a small team of animators. So please support us by subscribing and dropping in a comment for more exclusive engineering.
That was an amazing video, and I recommend watching more about this. But anyway, this is very interesting. The water weapon. Let me go back for it. This technology. This might be not look like this, but it's insane. That is a point where they can go through walls. You can go. This is amazing technology. We're gonna see more in the future of these. We don't know there's gonna be like Castlefly where they're gonna be tell the people that about this. I hope they tell about this because this is amazing technology. But anyway, like the video and subscribe, and see you in another episode. Bye.